Hey everybody, Kevin Johnson here. Thanks for joining me at Midwest Woodcraft. Today we're going to continue on with a series of short videos we're doing on some of the local tinders that I find in my area. What I have behind me here is an American linden or basswood tree. A lot of you may be familiar with it. It's a very useful tree for getting fires started. It's not a really sustainable firewood, but it does work really well. It's a real light, easy burning wood that's really good for getting your initial fire started. So a lot of times I'll use basswood to get my fire started, to get some harder woods going, more sustainable woods going, to build up my coal bed and so forth. But today we're going to be talking about it as fire tinder. The inner bark is good for a lot of things. It's good for making good strong cordage. It's good for weaving, things like that. But it also makes a really good fire tinder. So we're going to collect some up. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Stick with me. I'll be right back. One method that makes this fairly easy for me is I'll find one of these areas where the tree broke off when it fell. And a lot of times it'll already be started for you. You can just kind of start pulling that back. Take and break it in half. See, we get a big old strip of it. That's going to make quite a bit of tinder here. Okay, so you can see when we started peeling that back, we're exposing this inner bark here. Kind of on the back of that outer bark. Sometimes it's kind of stuck to the sapwood of the tree, and it's real easy, and you can just peel it right off. Sometimes it makes you work a little harder for it. That's all. Now you'll be able to see that some of this is dark here where it's damp. This is more what it looks like when it's dry. So for the purpose of this video, I am going to gather some of the more dry stuff, but if you have no choice, you're going to have to collect it like this. You're going to have to try to dry it out in the sun, dry it out in your pocket, like that. Another option you have if you need dry tinder right now is you can look around on the smaller branches. They tend to have thinner bark on the immature growth. You can see this bark isn't very thick, and a lot of times on the parts that have fallen, you'll see some of the fibers have actually been exposed. So these have been exposed to the sun, been exposed to the wind. So they're going to be a lot drier than the stuff hidden behind that thick bark. So we'll just take our knife, kind of shave some down, like so, just like you would a cedar tree or something like that. And just get them fibers and that material. It's whatever you got to do to get what you need. You got to be resourceful. That's what it's all about. See, sometimes you're going to have some of that outer bark on there. Just kind of got to bust through that stuff, get it off there. Take it, process it down like you would any other tinder. But all the surface area you can get when you're working with a ferro rod, especially, because you're trying to get this material to take a spark. I'll take a piece of this finer stuff out of the middle. I'll stick it over here for now. And this is going to be the outer part of my bird nest. And since it's stringy and long, what I'll do is I'll leave some of this on there. I'll make it to where that's on the outside of the bird's nest. I'll just kind of roll that up. Get it to where you like it. We'll take the material we're going to put in the center of our cavity here, of our bird's nest. I'm going to bust it down real fine. That's what I'm going to aim my ferro rod at, right at the center of that bird's nest. I'm going to pull that stuff apart, make that as fine hairs as I possibly can. You can see why this makes such good cordage. Look at that. This drier material in the center here, hopefully it'll get hot enough to dry everything else out once it gets burning. Just take a minute here, work on this just like so. Just process it. Okay, that's looking pretty good there. You don't want to compress it too much. Stick it down there. Have all of our fire prep ready to go. That's very important, especially in an emergency. it for a second. Layer them sticks on. And we got our bigger fuel wood. Whenever we get these burning, then we'll say we got a sustainable fire. Well guys, as you can see there, that inner bark from the basswood is very useful for quite a few things. It makes really good cordage, makes good weaving material, and excellent fire tinder as well, as you can see. I also use some of the sticks from the basswood there to get this going. As you can see, they take off real quick and real easy. Really good for getting your base fire started. Anyhow, hope you liked the video. If you like what you've seen here, click like, hit subscribe, leave us a comment down below. We always really love hearing what you have to say. I'm Kevin. Thanks for watching Midwest Woodcraft, guys. Hope to see you in the woods real soon. This here is what I had left in my pocket after I made my fire, after I made my tinder bundle. See, I had plenty here for another shot, or even if that would have been stubborn, I could have layered some of this in the fire to keep it going as we was building it. You always want to make sure you collect plenty of tinder. You never know when you might need it.